Hey guys, Lock here, back with the last Northerner that we're getting in this Christmas series. So that's gonna be Aedrin, and it's the last set of units and also the only non-support unit that we're getting this time round. He's a 20 cost fighter, and yeah, I think probably the most badass looking one. But the problem with that is that most of the good looking units typically are horrible in implementation. I mean, Uridan is one good example, and yeah, I cannot think of anyone else off the top of my head. But yeah, Aedrin, you can see his range. It's a bit awkward. It's almost like Leikan's range actually, but Leikan actually hits one more tile forward than he does. And HP wise is sitting at about 24k. This would be very important in a bit. 4.4k attack. And cost is at 20, which is pretty high. Attack interval is also a bit higher than average. 3.5 seconds. And then that's the part that, we all don't like to see. Damage scales of HP. When HP is above 30%, HP is depleted before the shield when taking damage. So it means that he keeps the shield on as much as possible. Reduces damage taken by 20% when shielded, so that synergizes with that. And the fourth basic attack deals an extra 300% damage when shielded. And during the ultimate, number of basic attacks required to trigger this reduces by 2, so it will be like what? Every second attack. And when dealing damage, she also deals extra damage equal to 30% of the current shield strength, kind of similar to what Elder does. The part that I don't like is the damage scaling of HP. We haven't had any good examples of units that actually do well with that. I mean, Blood was decent, but this guy is a fighter, so Blood was more in a bruiser position. I think we're all expecting him to pair really well with all these two other new units. So have to test to see whether that damage scaling is good enough. Alright, first thing, 120% damage up to 5 enemies. Very standard stuff. And then first passive, when shielded, gains 20% extra HP and 15% extra penetration. So I think the 20% extra HP scales with the talent, where his damage all scales with HP. And then with all these new units coming up, you're basically going to always have him shielded anyways. Second passive, converts 50% of damage taken within 6 seconds into a shield that lasts for 15 seconds, stacks up to 50% of max HP. Effect has a cooldown of 30 seconds, that's pretty long. Each talent enhanced basic attack reduces this cooldown by 1 second, so it's not gonna have a very high uptime, especially with the attack interval and this being in every 4 attacks. So yeah, I'm not too sure about this. We will have to see how it fares in actual the runs, but judging from this so far, I don't know. I mean, it scales well with the fact that his talent gives him extra damage equal to 30% of shield strength, but how much damage does he actually take in other aspects of the game? And this guy also doesn't look like he has any extra blocks, so that's the other thing to take note of. But let's move on to his ultimate. When the ultimate is triggered, immediately inflicts Ice Burn on up to 8 enemy targets in range. What is Ice Burn? If Barrow is not an elite or boss, they immediately take damage 1 time, equals to 20% of their max HP. That's pretty nuts. And then upon death, they deal 150% AoE damage, 1 time up to 5 enemies around. So it sounds like some explosion thingy. And then 20% of max HP, that's actually pretty good. What else does he do? He gains a shield equal to 30% of max HP. Each time an enhanced attack is triggered, stacking up to 100%. And when the ultimate ends, consumes all shield to do 300% AoE damage, plus additional AoE damage equal to all shield strength up to 8 enemy targets in range. So it looks like this will pair really well with Gwendolyn, for example. and also any of the other shields that the other Northerners are giving. But once again, this all banks on how well the damage scaling of HP goes. We'll need to actually test that out to see what he can do. And obviously with that range, we are not expecting him to be any good in Arena, but he will definitely come in very handy for content like Matrix. And he's likely going to be a rare unit, so like from rare summons, not going to be ancient limited, so that's the other good bit. Now, he does have an exclusive artifact right here, increases max HP by 10% and damage by 10%. Enhanced attacks can also be triggered when he has no shield. And I think, let's see when this is maxed out. Okay, it probably gives him 15% each instead. So very decent stuff, but from the artifact alone, you can see this guy is not going to be built to, you know, tank up any hits. Because he only has 2 block, he doesn't get any enhanced blocks with his artifact. So yeah. Now, Awakenings A1, when ultimate is triggered, hero immediately gains a shield equal to 80% of max HP. Shield duration is equal to the ultimate, which is pretty long. I think it's sitting at 25 seconds. Yep. And then A2 is probably going to be HP. Yep. And then A3, targets inflicted with Iceburn take 30% increased damage from the caster. A4 is penetration, and then A5, Frozen Bloodline grants 15% penetration to shielded allies within 2 tiles, excluding the caster. So I'm hoping this will actually grant the penetration to the highest attack units, hopefully. But I think this is also making up for something that's very important, which is that now we have Riven Hall to actually provide inspiration. He doesn't provide any penetration. And I think that's exactly what Aedrin's A5 is for. But it's a very, very high awakening A5. And we don't even know whether he's going to do any good damage. I mean, at least from just the kit alone. So that's what I feel so far. But we'll have to do a lot of testing to see how he fares and whether he's going to be any good. So yeah, let's actually move on to those. Alright, so for Aedrin, there's really not much content that we can test him in, if I can be honest. His range is kind of awkward. It's basically Leikan but 1 tile shorter. But fortunately, we do have the Conqueror's Codex, which is going on right now. So we're gonna see how well he does that. And the cool thing about this is that we finally have a full set of Northerner units that can all fit in. So let's test that out and see how they do in terms of damage outputs. We can actually bring Liverpool to higher awakenings here, because at the end of the day, everything is almost A5. So no reason to, you know, keep him at A1. And yeah, I think it's similar to what we saw with Azeroth. Now he is also meta in the Conqueror's Codex. So let's see. A5 doesn't really do much. It just offers him some unyielding. But let's see. So you can remove Kayn, because originally I wanted to use Kayn to actually give penetration. But then with Aedrin's A5, that is actually given for allies within 2 tiles of him. So as long as the shield, they're gonna get it. So yeah. I think the last unit that we're gonna fit in here is gonna be Valara as usual. And let's see whether this team takes us anywhere. Where is Valara? There we go. We're just fucking the A5. Let's see what we can do here. Alright, so all of these units are gonna get the penetration because it's within 2 tiles. So it is pretty handy. Now we're gonna do Aedrin, Ardea, Liverpool, and Valk at the back. Let's see. think we should actually put Valara at the front so that the buff actually lasts longer. I mean, the units actually die earlier, so that will push us into the boss rush phase a bit earlier. Let's see. Go. I think that's a bit late. It was bugged out, but let's see. Valara is the only one not getting the inspiration at the moment. Perhaps we should have moved Ravenhall down here and then Liu Bu to the back. I think that would have made a much better choice, but let's see. It's halfway through. Still doing just fine. Honestly, Aedrin is not being able to do any damage here. Valara is carrying most of it right now. Second here, we're gonna move Valara to the back, and then let's see whether that can still hold up. This is where normally the teams will crumble. It looks like it's fairly similar here. Perhaps we should save Valara's ultimate for the last bit here. But yeah, definitely an SSS team, but my concern here is that we're not demonstrating Aedrin as well, because all the damage is actually taken up by Valara being at the front. Let's just see. Yeah, he's dealing the least amount of damage here. Never mind, let's redo the run. This time we'll put him at the back and we'll see how that works out. Aedrin here. Just gonna put Valara at the front to start the boss rush phase a bit earlier. And after that we'll move her all the way to the back. Ah, that's bugging out again for some reason. It'll take us, I think, 2 ultimates to move her all the way to the back before we can see what's the damage that Aedrin can actually do here. Oh, we can actually move her all the way to the back. Let's do that. Now we just wait. We do get the penetration across all these units. So, but that's Aedrin at A5. So it's not that great in terms of value, because Magda can do that at just A0. I just want to see whether this guy has any damage potential, and Conqueror's Codex is probably the best place to showcase that. Already getting better scores than before. Now, Aedrin's gonna do another round of ultimates. I think the thing is almost broken out. Yeah, there we go. 2.36. I mean, it's not gonna beat your Azeroth or your classic chaotic team, but it is a decent one. Let's see damage wise. Yeah, Aedrin is still all the way at the bottom, so that just tells you in terms of damage output where this guy stands at the moment. Not the greatest, but he is gonna be one of the stronger HP based damage dealer, just from the fact that he actually does penetration. He actually has penetration on his own, and a lot of his kit comes from shields. So maybe if we have like a Gwendolyn, for example, in the team, then he will be able to benefit a lot better with that. So yeah. Alright, so other than Conqueror's Codex, I think the next area that Aedrin's going to be highlighted is obviously going to be in Zerber's Matrix. And we do have him in a pretty good HP scaling set. I am unable to get Sober Arcana, but I think that the 20% HP is still pretty good. It basically means 20% attack for this guy, because he scales off HP. So it's almost like a quad. We have 300% attack, aka HP, pretty high attack speed, and then some crit damage to top it off. So let's see what he does in terms of damage here. I'm most interested in his ultimate doing 20% max HP damage from the get-go. I think that can be quite helpful in Matrix especially. And he does offer some penetration at A5. So let's see how that performs in actual execution. Harlan, Ardea, and then we'll do Catgram. Do it just here. Leia, Ravenhall, and then we'll do the healer facing to the side, because I think these two guys should be able to survive pretty well. Now let's see how this performs. Aedrin doing decent so far. I think the good thing is that it is going to be a non-ancient exclusive, so it's not that hard to actually pull him. It's going to be added permanently, I guess. That's what I'm trying to say. Versus like an ancient exclusive unit like Catgrim, that's going to be a bit harder to actually pull. Okay. Nothing to fall behind here. Obviously, Nurture is a lot stronger with the execution. But yeah, Aedrin is still losing it there. I'll have to see the final results. I got a feeling that 20% max HP damage does go quite a long way. And he's pretty much unkillable on his own side here. Go. That burst almost killed off that whole wave instantly, I would say. With this northern team, shields just keep coming up. It's actually quite okay in terms of like staying alive. Don't think Mina's ultimate can come again in time here. It does come in here. But the score is a lot lower than what we got previously. I think it was 36k on that run. The one where we featured her on Ravenhall. Unlucky RNG there. Ardeia's ultimate's gonna come out. That should help us to get control here. As well as the Lady Mina out. Get some decent damage in there. Aedrin 4th in damage so far, but yeah, Tallulah died there. There's gonna be a problem because we no longer have a cleanser then. And yeah, you can see that without the cleanser, Kegrim does fall apart. But he is 4th in the damage charts. This is A5. Honestly, not really that impressed, but it is what they recommended us to test him in. The other thing we can do here is to actually try Gwendolyn in the mix. But the problem with Gwendolyn in the mix is that we don't really have any slots to put in anyone else. So we'll be removing someone here. And I'm not sure who to remove because Earlys gives Rich Regen, Tallulah gives Cleanse, and then Leia gives extra damage and Rich Regen as well. Unless we were to remove a DPS, but Ardea is too good to be removed. So is Lady Mina, so that just leaves us with Talon here. We can give it a try to see how they do. I'm not too hopeful there.
The northern light shines bright.
The good thing about this new Gwendolyn is that does offer quite a bit of survivability, given that the shield just straight up goes on every single unit now. The problem is that do we have a proper set for her to actually run her properly? I should be able to find some pieces here. Problem is we don't have healing effect. This is suboptimal, but let's see. Especially from the fact that we don't actually have a proper artifact even. Maybe we'll use Invigoration instead, because we need some of the healing effects. But even the attack speed. Don't even have that. So it looks like Unshaken Will is the way to go. Anyways, that's what we have. So let's work with that and see how the team runs. Now we don't have Talon facing top there. Let's see if Aedrin can actually do more damage in this setup.
You summon me, as he once did.
Let's see them move a mountain.
My wings are your shield. My song will seal
We're
your
just
wounds.
facing to the side, and let's go again.
Every step.
She should be able to cover everyone, so that should do quite a bit of work.
Bask in the glory of the light.
Look at those big shields values. And this way we will not have any units dying as well.
Nature's blessings. Stride, strike, and sleight of hand. Their pain feeds me.
Every step written in blood.
Nature's blessings.
Bask in the glory of the light.
Stride, strike, and sleight of hand. Enter freely and of your own will.
Feel the flames.
Break upon dwarven steel.
Every step written in blood.
Stride, strike, and sleight of hand.
A symphony of light.
So far so good, but we want to see the later phases if Aedrin can hold up in terms of damage. Obviously now with Talon gone, no longer having someone steal damage here is gonna be in third in terms of damage charts. That's to be expected.
Sleight of hand.
Every step written in blood. Feel the flames.
Their pain feeds me.
My prayers will guide you.
Stride, strike, and sleight of hand.
My prayers will guide you.
Break upon dwarven steel. Their pain feeds me.
A symphony of light.
Stride
Halfway through,
and sleight of hand.
looks like without Talon we are getting some licks coming through here. It's the only difference I've seen so far. And obviously with Gwendolyn in the mix, team is just gonna be easier to keep alive. See, she does give quite a bit of shield values.
A symphony of light. Nature's blessings.
Go. And bear in mind Gwendolyn is lordless. So yeah, I think that does play a part in terms of the shield strengths and values because you're gonna have the best stats on her.
Their pain feeds me.
Go.
My prayers
Aedrin looks like he's having a bit of trouble keeping him
Of
here.
light.
It's a bit slower.
My prayers will guide you.
Now we have the chain vision. Yeah. Boss actually dies here.
Will guide you.
I don't think we'll be able to kill off this
A symphony
mobs.
of light.
We're probably gonna get an early timeout there.
Enter freely and of your own will. Stride
And then yeah. Clear this bit.
A symphony of light.
Feel the flames.
There we go. So that's the run with Gwendolyn, shields on him. Does it do much better? I don't really think so. I think that the other team that were running in the Riven Horse scenario, without Aedrin, that actually worked a lot better. I mean, he does decent damage here, but this is at A5. I think if you're looking at A0, he probably is a good support sub DPS, but he definitely cannot tank hits. I think those are the things that you have to take into consideration. And this is with him at A5, and I think A5 is just more utility for units around him with that 15% penetration. We could see more use once we get more Northerner fighters, because right now we only have Ardea, and Ardea just steals the spotlight with her freaking 8k base attack. So yeah, that's the Matrix run. Let's actually wrap up the video. Alright, so that's Aedrin, the second HP based DPS dealer that we've had in a long bit. So we had Malvera months ago, and then we have Vlad Draculia, and then now we have Aedrin. So how has he fared so far? Honestly, not the best. I don't think he's a bad unit in any way. I think that HP base gear is also just a bit tougher to get. Maybe if we're running him in Soba Arcana, he'll be doing a lot better than having him in Unshaken Will, because this just doesn't offer him much in terms of, stats benefits. And with that said, if they were to launch new sets in the future, new tier 3 sets that were more HP based DPS focused, maybe units like Vlad and Aedrin would see more sunlight where people will actually use him. But I don't see anything particularly special here. He is a very strong HP base damage dealer, but not strong enough to overtake any of the current metas, I believe, unless we are not using him in the right way here, because from what I can see here, he does decent damage, but nothing that amazes me. So yeah, at the end of the day, he is a non-ancient exclusive, so I think that's fine. We don't need heroes that are too strong here. We already have Nurcha, who's freaking overpowered, so I don't know. Maybe they'll buff him slightly before he comes, but I think the way that he stands right now, he's an okay hero. Just nothing that I'll go crazy over compared to Ravenhall, which probably has the best inspiration right now in the game, and Cat Grim, which is the best tank so far. So yeah, that's gonna be for the video. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you found that helpful. If you have any more questions about Aedrin, leave it down in the comment section below. More than happy to answer them. But yeah, see you in the next one. Goodbye.